I like old things. I have antiques everywhere. Now that I'm 80, I am one. And I like to save as many things as possible. And I want to preserve whiskey making.
The whiskey being made in this 1950s milk barn in the country hills outside Jefferson City, Missouri, will age for months in these barrels before it's ready to drink. But its recipe and story are much older.
My family made alcohol all of our lives. The corn whiskey is the recipe that my family made back before Prohibition.
That's Mike as a kid next to his dad, Michael Broker Sr., a blacksmith who also ran a sawmill in Frankenstein, Missouri. Like many in those days, Michael Broker and his wife Anna made just about everything they consumed.
We had heard the stories about Grandpa distilling,
including whiskey, a recipe Mike Jr. jotted down before it was lost to time.
I said, I want to get this recorded because my bucket list, I want to make the family recipe one time before I die.
A successful one time eventually led to Mike and his children opening a craft distillery named for the family patriarch.
I wanted to pay homage to our blacksmith grandfather.
Just 2 years after its opening, the Show Me State is recognizing Blacksmith Distillery's heritage as part of its 200th birthday celebration. It licensed Blacksmith's whiskey as a bicentennial bourbon, saluting Missouri's long tradition of distilling.
It's a part of our history. It's a part of who we are as a state. That's something I've learned during the bicentennial is the history of a lot of these distilleries, and I love learning the family history too and kind of their stories that they have, because it's not all about the bourbon, it's about the stories of how they got there and how these bottles came to be and what's in them and how they as a family got excited about it and how they started.
Missouri has about 30 craft distilleries, many with historic roots, on its Spirits Expedition Trail, a trail just like you would see in Kentucky or Tennessee. But that's not the only thing Missouri now shares with those states when it comes to whiskey. The Missouri legislature passed a law in 2019 for classifying Missouri bourbon whiskey, and the steps distillers have to take to get that Missouri bourbon label are arguably the strictest in the country.
It's all made in Missouri. As the components of the bill is that all the corn has to be bought from Missouri farmers, and all the white oak barrels need to be bought from Missouri producers. So that's what makes us very unique.
No other place has corn and barrel origin requirements, and Representative Jeff Porter, who sponsored the bill, hopes that will set Missouri bourbon apart from its competitors.
We have all the components here, so let's just make our own footprint. Let's go forward and show what Missouri distillers can do.
It's a recipe that my family made before Prohibition. I won't say whether it's made it during Prohibition.
And we have some great distillery people. They have their own stories, and that's what makes us very unique. And I like the stories of each one.
We're, 2.5 years old now and having a blast and love telling our story.
For Missouri's craft distillers and Blacksmith Distillery in particular,
favorite part of the whole process?
Right in. I can't stop myself from reading the backstory. We are a fourth generation family with roots in Frankenstein, Missouri. Yes, really, Frankenstein.
It seems to be a story that has many more chapters to be written.
You know, if you can do something, the same thing that your ancestors did 100 years ago, 200 years ago, that's pretty cool.